What is good, everyone? Welcome to this video. I'm Charlie from Conscious Creation, and in this video I'm going to be sharing with you how you can go about and stop negative thinking and obsessive thoughts. Now, when it comes to attracting a reality that we really want, if we are always focusing on the negative, is like attracts like, and we are going to keep attracting circumstances in our life that keep generating us to be negative. So I'm going to share with you exactly how you can stop this from happening. So I'm going to start off by talking about thoughts because we can't stop them. It's what the mind does. It thinks tons every single day, and there's nothing that we can do to actually stop these thoughts. But the thoughts are not the problem. It's our identification with the thoughts. So let's say we're sitting on the sofa and our thoughts are running through our mind, and one thought catches our attention and we label it as either a positive or a negative. Through that judgment, we create what we call an electrical charge. And that electrical charge is either going to make us feel good or make us feel bad. So let's say we have our stick man or stick woman here. Here we have the lower energy centers, also referred to as the survival energy centers. Now, if we have a thought and we label or judge that thought as negative, and we create that electrical charge, it's going to make its way into the lower energy centers, and it's going to create a negative emotion: shame, guilt, fear, worry. Now, the vibration of that negative emotion is going to create more of the same thoughts. And then we get in this cycle of thinking and feeling, feeling and thinking. And then 10 minutes after having that original negative thought, we're like, why is our life so bad? I'm going to share with you through this 2 specific ways in which we can stop this, and I'm going to share with you a bit more information so you can get a better understanding about how this system works, because when you start to understand something, it's a lot easier to then change it for yourself. Now, we have 80 to 90,000 thoughts in a single day, and most of the thoughts are the same as the day before because we are reacting to the same circumstances, we are reacting to the same thoughts, and everything just seems to be on automatic, and we keep creating the same reality because we are living exactly as the day before. Now, we are wired for negativity. This is all to do with that survival mechanism and thousands of years of trying to look after ourselves. Now, if you see things like that of the news, what does it say? Breaking news, and it grabs our attention because we want to figure out what the breaking news is, what's the danger, so we can be prepared for it. Now, the thing about when we do this, it releases a lot of stress chemicals because we're always looking at the negative, things like adrenaline and cortisol. Now, the thing about these emotions and these chemicals is that they're highly addictive. So we're having that thought, it creates that stress response in the body. We start feeling that emotion and we start telling ourselves a story. Now, the thing about emotions is they're much more primal, and we want to deal with emotions if we want to stop things like obsessive or negative thinking, because it's the power of those emotions that are driving those thoughts over and over and over. So what do we usually do? If something negative happens to us and we feel that emotion within our body, is we start to create a story around it and we start to make stuff up. Why do we make stuff up? Because when we're in that survival mode, we're always looking for that worst case scenario. So we start piecing together in our mind what we thought happened. And we end up being upset about something that we have actually made up. This has actually been proven. It's what Joe Dispenza talks a lot about. We are being upset because of a story that never really happened. So I'm going to share with you 2 ways in which you can get over this problem. The first way is to become more of the observer of your thoughts. This is what we call the observer technology. So when the thoughts come across in our mind, is we need to learn to watch them as if it's just simply a bird flying by in the clouds.
I like to wave at them as they pass by.
This is easier said than done. And this is why meditation is so good. But a really good analogy that I found has helped me a lot with this is, if I come back to this, have you ever said to yourself, I do not feel like myself? I do not feel like myself. What does that phrase imply? That phrase implies that there's more than one of you. So we've got the mind. Notice how I'm not using my mind because it creates a sense of attachment to the thoughts. We are saying the mind. It's much easier to detach when we realize we are not the mind. We are the I am presence, the one who watches the thoughts. And this is where that observer technology comes in. This is what allows us to look at our thoughts and not react to them. And this takes a bit of time to understand this, and this is why meditation is so good, because when you're meditating, you're not distracted, and it's much easier to become the observer of your thoughts. But as you progress, you can start to do this in your day-to-day life. Now, like I said, this is easier said than done. So as we start to watch our thoughts, sometimes a thought will come in and it's just too much for us to just simply observe. So it will create an emotional reaction. Now, this usually happens when we have obsessive thoughts. Now, the reason for obsessive thoughts is simply because your body is trying to get your attention to deal with an emotional pattern, an emotion that's stuck in your body. So we'll go nag, 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 obsessive thought. And then eventually you go, oh, I can't take this anymore. And then you just get that feeling of the emotion within your body. But that's what we want, because that emotion is going to keep creating those obsessive thoughts. So what do? We want to deal with the emotion. This is something that I figured out as well. When I had chronic fatigue, ME, for 2 years, I was put on antidepressants and for about 6 months, and they helped a lot, but they only covered the symptom. And when I came off them, I needed to go back on them because I became very reliant on them. It's not till I went to the core of the issue, which was through that of the emotions. Coming back to the I am presence, if you notice a thought comes into your mind and it triggers that emotion in your body, you remember part of this cycle is not to let your head start getting in the way, because your head's part of the problem. It will start creating the story. So you stop the thoughts and you focus on the emotion. This is also why being in your body is so powerful, because it's one of the strongest forms of being present. And as you feel that emotion, what you're doing is you are shining your light, we could say your I am presence, on the shadow. What happens if you get a light torch and you shine it on the shadow? The shadow disappears, the emotion transmutes and goes away. So nag, 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 obsessive thoughts, emotion is triggered. Okay, let's not create a story. And this might take a bit of practice as well, because the emotions are incredibly convincing and it's very easy to go into the victim mode and back to our thoughts. So we need to focus on the emotion. Stay with the emotion, shine the I am presence. In other words, you want to try and become one with the emotion. Okay, most people run away from it. You feel it in your body, try and merge yourself with it. Close your eyes, be in your body. And let it express whatever it needs to do. And then once that emotion is transmuted, it will then disappear. But also another point when it comes to observing your thoughts, another really good analogy that I like to use is that these are not your thoughts a lot of the time. Like if you've ever been driving and you get in a traffic jam, and let's say you're in no particular rush, but for some reason you start getting really angry. Why is no one moving? We've been in this traffic jam for ages. And the thing is that thousands and thousands and thousands of people have been in that same position, having the same emotions and the same thoughts. Why isn't this traffic jam moving? And this creates what we call thought forms. And these thought forms, they build. And we are driving by and we enter into that area which has all these thought forms, and we then think it's our thoughts, and we start creating the same thoughts and the same emotions, and we start reacting to them. Once we realize, again, we are not our mind, it is the mind, we can just simply watch it. But again, if you don't actually have, let's say it's triggering that frustration, if you don't really have that emotional pattern stuck within your body, it's not going to trigger this. But simply using your awareness, being aware of this, is the main battle to actually not getting triggered in the first place. Okay, the second thing that we can do is we can learn to switch our attention. Like if it's an obsessive thought, it's our body trying to get our attention to release the emotion. So we release the emotion and then the obsessive thoughts disappear. However, what we want to do, if it's just general thinking, is we want to learn to switch our attention to what we want. Now, again, this is difficult because we've been so programmed to always look at the negative. It's been proven that 10 good things can happen to you in a day, and then one bad thing can happen, and you'll spend the rest of your day focusing on that bad thing. I'm sure most people are familiar with this. It's like, oh, that one thing ruined my day, because we're always designed to look for the negative. So what we want to do is we want to learn to switch our focus to the positive. Notice when you have this negative thinking and set your intention to switch it to something positive. Now, when you start doing this, there's going to be a lot of resistance. It's a bit like if you've got a cup of coffee and you spin with a spoon the coffee, and then you take the spoon out, there's a lot of momentum and it just keeps spinning for a bit of time. If you have spent most of your life looking always at the negative, you are going to have to wait and allow that momentum to slow down, and then you can start spinning the coffee the other way, and then you can start focusing your momentum on something that you would prefer to do. And as you start getting over this resistance in the beginning, it becomes easier and easier and easier. But the only reason that we have to do this in the first place is because we are designed to focus on the negative as a mechanism of survival. So we got observation and we've got switching our attention. Hope this has helped you. Thank you for watching. Peace, much love, and namaste. Fucking nailed that one. Hope this has helped. I will put a free meditation below. Hope this has helped you. I will put a free ebook below that can help you with the process of the law of attraction, which helps you with things like switching your attention if you want to give that a go. Apart from that, thank you for watching. Peace, much love, and namaste.